Hello, Booktube, and welcome back. First of all, sorry if I start shouting here. I've got a blocked ear, so que sera, I'm sorry. So, I thought I'll continue my bookshelf tour. I think this is part 10. The previous part I've relied heavily on non-fiction, but I've done these two shelves now, and I'm going to start off on the shelves that are high up, the shelves that you can't see, the secret shelves. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. I thought I might get the stepladder from down the stairs, but I didn't know how I was going to maneuver around and show books and not knock the phone. So I was like, "Oh, just get them down, bring the books to you." So I'm starting up on this section here. Brought the books down, and all this section is this is all Middle Earth. This is all J.R.R. Tolkien and his son Christopher. So if you're not a fantasy nerd or if you don't like Lord of the Rings, step away now. You've been warned. Yeah, every single one of these I'm just looking at is Middle Earth. Yeah. So let's begin. Where am I going to begin with all this here? So I might as well begin here, right at the start. This is the Silmarillion. This is how it all began, how the one god created all the other angels or archangels or whatever you want to call them, the other gods and goddesses and half gods, and they all sung Middle Earth into being. And then the god Morgoth kind of started to do his own thing, make his own tune, became rebellious, and basically became bad. He's the chief villain in the Silmarillion, and his favourite lieutenant is Sauron, who is the bad guy later on in the second and third age. And this is all about how Morgoth was trying to conquer Middle Earth and destroy the elves. And the elves battles with Sauron with the Silmarils that Fëanor creates, like massive jewels what Morgoth covets. Covets, is that a word? Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, what he wants, he's greedy for these Silmarils, and he puts them in his crown and he slays Fëanor. And there's loads of little stories throughout the first age here. And it's all about the first age and the eventual collapse of it. Because everybody's probably familiar with what the Middle Earth looks like in the first age, but no, sorry, in the third age of the time of the Lord of the Rings. But this whole section here, if I can put my chin like that, basically in the third age, it cuts off here because all this gets destroyed by the end of the book. The battle between Morgoth and his Balrogs and the dragons, the Elvish army and the army of humans and dwarves, the all combat and all this basically gets destroyed. So Morgoth nearly conquers the whole of Beleriand, which is the name of that. Fantastic little work. This is probably my favourite. I prefer this over reading Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. It's not going to be for everyone. Don't pick this up thinking it's a kind of like Lord of the Rings, story. It's not. It's very much. It reads like a historical text almost. I know that sounds kind of dry, but it's not. It is good. Maybe because I'm a big non-fiction reader, that's why I can probably easily read this. But I truly love the Silmarillion. I absolutely adore it, and I love these editions as well. They're cool. Next one is the Hobbit. Again with like a blue colour, dwarfish script there. Don't know what that says. Probably hairy little women. So famous one. Do we need to describe what goes on here? Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit of the Shire, meets up with 13 dwarfs and the wizard Gandalf, and he convinces him to go on a quest to take back Erebor, which is the dwarf homeland that Smaug the Dragon has took. And they do basically. On the way, Bilbo finds a magic ring. Ooh, wonder what that ring is for. And this is an illustrated copy as well, and you get all the. Trying to find a picture for you. It's tricky when you're talking on camera. Oh well, I've just found one, but I've clicked over it. Here we go. So it's full of like little pictures like that, that's Dale, isn't it? Yeah, I've read The Hobbit. I was about to give a number to it, but I don't know how many times I've read Hobbit quite a lot. I do like it. It's sound. It's a kid's book. So, and I did read it. Must have been about 12 or 13, so kid age, you know. And it was all right. I thought it was all right, you know. But it's The Hobbit, isn't it? It's still a cracking little story about little hobbits. Yeah. So again, in these editions, I do love them. So that's the Silmarillion and the Hobbits. So obviously the next part is the Lord of the Rings in the same kind of format. You got the red binding there that's the black speech, I believe. Everybody knows the story of the Lord of the Rings. They have to go through it. Frodo and Sam got to go into Mordor. They've got to destroy the ring, while the rest of them, Aragorn and Gandalf and Gimli, Legolas, Merry, Pippin, Theoden, everything, they've got to protect the West from falling to Sauron's forces. Again, what a cracking little book this is. I mean, because of the sheer size, it might be a bit uncomfortable to read. I've had previous editions of The Lord of the Rings, but I've read them so much, you know, they just fall to bits. And I do absolutely adore the Lord of the Rings. Not a big fan of Tom Bombadil though. I know people are like on the team Tom Bombadil, but no, I just don't like him. Every time I get to the old forest, I know you can hear him singing. I'm like, oh, here he comes. Old Tom Bombadil. Well, you know, what you gonna sing now for me, Tom? So, yeah, that is. A lot of people don't know that in the Return of the King, the Shire gets basically burnt to the ground by Saruman the Wizard, and gets turned to tobacco fields, and that's completely left out of the film. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that at the very end of watching Return of the King, that 4 hours where you're comatose and you got popcorn going down your chin. There's another battle towards the end of the film where the Hobbit's got to fight off men. Can you imagine that? That would drive you insane. Like, how long is this film? It's going to be 5 hours. The next 3 is basically works by his son Christopher Tolkien. So this is fleshing out stories from the Silmarillion, so the first age. So the Children of Hurin. Again, these are only wee books, and it's got notations by Christopher all the way through these books. Again, it's illustrated. So the Children of Hurin. I think he's picked the 3 most well-known stories from the first age. Children of Hurin is mostly about Hurin, who gets captured by Morgoth and gets cursed by him. And he gets to see the downfall of his family lineage. That's basically because Tullenberg, is that his surname? I'm trying to go off memory here. He's the one who kills the dragon, but he also falls in love with his sister, who's they've put a curse on. His sister doesn't remember that Turin's her brother. Is that way, or does Turin get cursed? It's one or the other. It's something to do with curse, and the memory becomes lapse, and the dragon reveals at the end when Turin slays him that, ha! I've got your back. You married your sister. Again, that's like a quick overview of the Children of Hurin. A lot of people don't like this, but I think it's quite good. I like it, and I think I'm losing my balance. I think the other 2 are quite good as well. And this is Beren and Luthien. This is like basically the love story in the first age. This is like the first time that a man and an elf fell in love. So Beren is the man and Luthien is the elf. And Luthien's like the most beautiful, elf on the world. And her father is a Thingol. Her father. I can't remember. It might not be Thingol. What's the deal? I get me elves mixed up from the first age. Her father's very much like, oh no way is my daughter marrying a man. So they're like, okay, is there anything that I can do to prove to you how much I love Luthien? And he basically says, well, yeah, there is, you can go and steal one of the Silmarils from Morgoth, the god. And that's basically the story of this. And they eventually get one of the Silmarils, and calamities happen after that as well. Cool little story. I do like Beren and Luthien. And the last one of that trilogy is the Fall of Gondolin. Gondolin being basically the big city, big hidden city of the elves. I think Thingol is actually the king of Gondolin. So I don't think that's going to wind me up that now. What's the name of that elf? Ah! But anyway, this is about, the destruction. Because all through the time, throughout the first day, Morgoth has just destroyed everything. He's found and killed off men and elves, and dwarves are hiding in the mountains. And this is the city he wants to find, because he can't find it. So he corrupts a jealous elf. Because I think this is the second time that a elf and a man fell in love. Is that the two falls in love with? Yeah, I think it is. Tua falls in love with Eowyn. Oh, trying to go off the top of my head, and this elf gets jealous of their relationship, and he goes and tells Morgoth where the location of the city is, and Morgoth sends all his Balrogs and his dragons to destroy this city. The people flee and all that, and then basically after the fall of Gondolin is the War of the Powers, I believe, which is the one that destroys all that land I showed you in that book before. Again, not for everyone, because a lot of it's notation along with the story. Now, these are box sets, and these are proper nerd fest boxes, so I wouldn't recommend you to buy well, not only because they're expensive, but don't buy these like, oh god, I can't wait to read them, because you'll probably read them and go, oh, this is like reading an essay, because a lot of them are essays. So this is the history of Middle Earth, and it comes in 4 different boxes. The first box is this. It's patterned all over. That's the god Ulmo, and that's is that Tua? I think it is. Leave off me, Tolkien nerds. I'm going from memory here. So, each box has got 4 or 3 books or whatever it is. This one has got a re-copy of the Silmarillion, so I've got 2. The next part of this one is Unfinished Tales. That's Umo and Tua, I believe. So the Unfinished Tales is, I was about to say Unfinished Tales. Duh! So it's everything that any extra stuff that you'd like to know. So any more information about the Easter, is that how you pronounce them? Easter, the wizards, Gandalf and Saruman and Radagast, the rest of them, I believe it's got family lineages in here. The disaster of the Gladden Fields, where Isildur was assassinated. So it's got like all kind of stuff throughout the first age, the second age, the third age, of all like little bits of information that you won't be able to find in anything else. I do like Unfinished Tales. And the next 2 together are the Lost Tales Part 1 and Part 2. I mean, I do love these covers. Look at these covers, they're fantastic. The Lost Tales are Tolkien's very early writings of the Lord of the Rings. Some of the concepts that he kind of like pushed aside and later developed to more fleshed out stories later on. And again, a lot of these books are written, edited by Christopher Tolkien, and he puts his own little flair at the end, because it reads very much like an essay kind of a style. Still loving them. Next 3, is the next 3 again presented, and that's, I think, mind you, let me pull them out. A nightmare to get out. So the Lays of Beleriand, which is this one, is where Tolkien starts to expand on the Silmarillion, and that's the god Morgoth fighting Fingolfin the king. Eventually slays Fingolfin, but Fingolfin actually wounds him a few times. And this is looking at the first couple of early goes of the Children of Hurin that I was mentioned before, and the quest of Beren and Luthien to capture the Silmaril. Again, not for everybody, so don't be like, oh, I need to get these. You know, they sound like interesting reads. They are for you complete Tolkien nerd like me. I can't get that back in anymore. The next one, this is shaping. What is it? The shaping of Middle Earth. So this is the first ideas of what Middle Earth will look like. You know, for the first age, second age, third age. You know, what would it look like when, you know, the powers that be destroy all that land in the first age, the rise of Numenor in the second age, and then what Middle Earth looks like in the third age. Great little thing, and that's just a generic picture of some people. The Lost Road and other writings. Let me try to remember. I think this is more to do with languages, I think. So yeah, it's the link between basically the second age where the Numenors, really powerful men. Have you watched, I was supposed to say, is it Rings of Power? They feature heavily in it. I've not watched the Ring of Power, so with the people of Middle Earth, and it studies the different languages that Tolkien set up. Again, I love all this artwork on these covers here. Next book of cards, heavy. Again, another set of 4. Right, what have we got here? Oh, I know what these are. So all these books. So we're looking at the Return of the Shire, the Return of the Shire, the Return of the Shadow. This is Gandalf at back end. This is the earliest writings of the Fellowship of the Ring and the Hobbit. I believe it does discuss the Hobbit all the way up to, I think it's the Mines of Moria. So all the early writings, all the early drafts, the discarded things, again with some of the notation from Christopher Tolkien. Next one is the Treason of Isengard. This is one of the prime things that I bought this series for. I love the artwork. So this is Edoras in Rohan. This is where they had to flee Edoras to Helm's Deep. So again, this is going from now the Mines of Moria and then fleshing out the Lothlorien with Galadriel, and then, you know, the Anduin River down into Rohan. And I don't think I think it stops there. I can't remember where this leaves off and the next one starts, but I think it's from the Mines of Moria all the way up to where the Fellowship get to Edoras, and where Frodo and Sam get to the Dead Marshes. So this one is the War of the Ring. So this is yeah. So I'm remembering now. So that definitely ends at Helm's Deep. This picks up after Helm's Deep. I think. Yeah. So basically, all these books are basically the you know, the early stories and the drafts of the Hobbit all the way through the Lord of the Rings, and this is taking all. I think it's from Frodo and Sam from the Dead Marshes to Cirith Ungol, and the Fellowship all the way up to and including the Battle of Middle Earth, and then the last one of this section, Sauron Undefeated, covers the journey that Frodo and Sam took to destroy the One Ring, and also the Free People's March on the Black Gate, and also the other stuff that I mentioned when I was going through the Lord of the Rings, about when the hobbits went home and found out the Shire was, you know, basically changed forever by Saruman, who turned it all into tobacco fields. Again, great little stuff. If you're interested in your your Lord of the Rings and whatnot, pick up a cheaper, one than the ones I've got now. You don't need the really pricey ones on the next 4. Just get out. Here we go. And you'd be glad to know this is the last one of everything. So this is Morgoth's Ring, the first one. So this is after Tolkien died, and this is son Christopher Tolkien getting all his notes together to prepare for the Silmarillion to get published. So on the cover here, you got Morgoth destroying the Trees of Light with the spider Ungoliant. Big nasty spider whose genesis is unknown. You know, I love all like the unknown stuff in the Tolkien mythos. So yeah, this is pretty much how the earliest. Yeah, it's all about the latter days, the elder days of Middle Earth, and how Christopher Tolkien prepared it for publication. And this is again expanding further. This is the War of the Jewels. This is, and I mentioned Turon before. He fell in love with his sister, and his sister fell in love with him. Neonor, I think it's a Neonor, and that's the dragon that cursed him. Again, this is fleshing out the tales of Turon, and I believe of Beren and Luthien. So it's expanded on the tales from Beleriand. Who we got here? Oh yeah, so those two books are basically the getting everything together for the Silmarillion. And the next two, this is the peoples of Middle Earth. You can't really see this. Is the Elvish ships going across the water. This is just basically a chronological look of what went on. Just gives you dates and whatnot of what happened during the ages of Middle Earth. So it's all full of dates, and it's all full of family trees and stuff like that. And the last one for this video, 22 minutes, is basically an index. Again, I just love that artwork. I think it's great. And it is basically, if you want to find out about, well, I don't know, Lughorn, see Laglove. So basically, it's an index. And that's it, folks. So that is all the Middle Earth stuff I've got. I've actually, believe it or not, got rid of some of the Middle Earth stuff. Yeah, so the next bookshelf tour, I'm looking right now, I'm probably going to have to do 2 videos, and it's going to be classics. It's going to be the classics, folks. And it's all the Penguin cloth-bound classics up there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you like Lord of the Rings. If you've not read Lord of the Rings, go read the Lord of the Rings. Go and read the Silmarillion too. I do love the Silmarillion. A lot of people are put off reading the Silmarillion, as I said, because it reads like an historical text. But I think it's great. I love it. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll speak to you soon. Bye, Booktube.